Hey peoples, today I want to talk a little bit about diaphragmatic breathing and kind of why it's important. So, obviously, we don't really have to think to breathe, um, but when we're exercising, in order to be able to produce as much force as we possibly can, say in like a one repetition max squat, deadlift, bench press, or even if you're doing body weight exercise, a more efficient way to get from point A to B and generate as much force as you can possible in doing so, and get all those muscle fibers to contract. Diaphragmatic breathing is what's going to help stabilize your core, and it's going to help secure your spine so that your spine from vertebrae to vertebrae is stacked on top of each other. And that's what allows you to produce as much force as possible is when your spine is aligned. So, a little bit about diaphragmatic breathing. Your diaphragm itself is responsible for two things, one being bracing and another being breathing. But if you think about it on, say, your diaphragm is, think about it as on a dial. So, if we turn that dial all the way to the left, say that's breathing. Turn it all the way to the right, that's bracing. So you can kind of imagine that we can turn it up or down like a volume on, um, like a stereo. So if we want a little bit more geared towards breathing or a little bit more geared towards bracing, we can adjust that. Okay, so if I am gearing my diaphragm more towards breathing, okay, I'm going to be able to take in a lot more air than I would if I was gearing it towards bracing. A good example of that, and also a good way to get everybody to know how they're contracting their core um, all the way, would be to take your thumbs, put them into your obliques here, into your sides. Okay, and you can kind of see how if I take my thumbs and I relax my core, I can push in pretty deep. I can bury those thumbs in there. Okay, and then when you contract your core, you can push your thumbs out. Okay, that's known as bellying down. So, what a lot of people are under the impression of is that when you're doing a squat or when you're doing a deadlift, that your form or your posture has to be more or less like so. Okay, and the problem with this is we have an overextended low back and we have an excessively high chest. So not only are our vertebrae not in alignment with each other, as in stacked on top of each other, but we actually put a lot more stress on our low back by having this position and not utilizing our diaphragm or our core in order to do that work. So when we're lifting or we're moving, whether it be a body weight squat, a one repetition max squat, whether you're doing lateral lunges or a bench press, one thing to do is to brace first and then breathe. And what I mean by that is once you take your thumbs and you press them into your sides like so, and you can find the muscles to push them away, that's when you know that you've got your abdomen contract, your obliques, and we're bellying down. And to look at that from the side, it's just a neutral posture here, not hyperextended. Okay? And when we do take a big deep breath in, as much as we can without bracing, watch what happens. We go back to that excessively overextended low back, excessively high chest, which puts our spine out of a neutral position. Okay, so again, thumbs into the obliques, push away, that's belly down. Hold that, arms at your side. We're now at a neutral position at our spine. From here, holding that core tight, Now we breathe in as much as we can. And if you notice, when I took that breath in by bellying down, I didn't excessively arch my low back and overextend my chest. Okay, see it from the side again. Belly down. So once we have that, when we're doing a movement, if you're going for like say a 1 repetition max, you would belly down first, push as much air down into your stomach as you can. Think about getting wider, not taller. The taller we get, the more of a misalignment in our vertebrae that we get, which equals a decrease in force production. So think about getting wide. Once you've bellied down, you've sent as much air into your lungs, down into your stomach as you can. Hold your breath, squeeze again, do your movement, and don't exhale until you get to the starting point. So for a squat, don't exhale at the bottom, because as soon as you exhale, you're going to lose all the contraction in your core, which is going to decrease your force production, and that could be the determining factor in whether or not you get that new PR, or whether or not you get that last 2 or 3 reps on your squat, or say your bench press or your deadlift, etc. Okay, it's a little bit on diaphragmatic breathing. I hope to help. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments.